Hey, hi students. Good morning, everyone. This is Priya, your English teacher from Alpha Group of Institutions. And welcome back to our grammar session. And the last session we have discussed from ACE book, chapter 5, verbs. And we have discussed only some of the content from the book. Is it so? And today's session we are going to complete the chapter. It means the chapter 5 verbs has been divided into two sessions. One session is the first half which we have completed in the last session, and in this session we are going to discuss about the second half of the chapter, and later on we are going to summarize from the beginning to the ending of this chapter. So let us have a quick recap on which we have discussed in the last session, and later let us go to the continuation and also with the exercises which will be followed and the activity and the summarization. Okay children? Yes. Thank you. So let us go to the first quick recap of the last session. Okay guys?
So, in the last class, first we have discussed about the main verbs and auxiliary verbs, isn't it? So, let us have a small recap. We use a main or principal verb. It means main verbs is also called principal verb. Main verbs are also called principal verb, and it is used, we use this to indicate the action of the subject. And whereas auxiliary verbs are called as helping verbs. These are used to indicate the tense of the main verb, like be. What are the be form verbs? Is, are, was, were, am. Do form verbs are do, does, did, have, has, had. Will, would, shall, should, can, could, may, might, out. Everything comes under helping verbs. Whereas in the main verb, it just speaks about only the action. And children, in this English grammar, the differences, what is the difference between the auxiliary and the main verb? What is the difference between the auxiliary and main verb? Like the difference between auxiliary verb and main verb is really very important for us to know. Both types of verbs have different functions in a sentence that we can be used when they have different tasks, and consequently they cannot be substituted, they cannot be replaced, they cannot be used instead of one another, and this differentiation plays a major role in verbs. And the other thing, if you want to talk about the verbs, like the auxiliary verb, let us talk about the comparison first. The fact that they are basically two different types of verbs often create difficulties when learning English. And to overcome this problem, we can remember one fundamental distinguishing feature, like a main verb can appear alone. It means if the action verb appears alone only. And the auxiliary verb can only do this in certain cases, such as in short answers. Children, the main thing is regarding auxiliary and main verbs, they mainly occur when using the tenses, as certain ones have peculiar requirements. And the peculiarity is that the auxiliary verb and not the main verb. And we have to agree with the subject in number, person, etc. Auxiliary verbs and main verbs mainly occur together sometimes. To speak in short, these auxiliary verbs are used only as a helping verb. We can use only as a helping verb. If you see the example, Yana has grown some plants on her balcony. Here, the verb is grown. The main verb is grown, but the helping verb is here. This is an auxiliary verb has. All these words are helping verbs. Here, the main verb is what? Batul loves horse riding. Love is an action. So the main verb is an action. The auxiliary verb is a verb which like helps the to indicate that the tense of the main verb. And then Here you can see there is no auxiliary verb. The main verb will be alone in a sentence, but whereas the auxiliary will not be alone, it will be accompanied by the main verb also. Okay, children? And later we have done the A Roman exercise regarding that one. Regarding what? Based on main or auxiliary verbs. I hope you all have done the exercises also. Isn't it, children? Yeah. The next thing what we have discussed is transitive and intransitive verbs. We know that a sentence has a subject and a verb. Sometimes the verb also has an object which receives the action of the verb. There are two kinds of objects, direct and indirect objects. Something that is directly affected by the verb is the direct object. The manager signed the contract. The person who is indirectly affected by the action of the verb is an indirect object. Manas gave the flowers to Ekta. In the above sentence, the flowers is the direct object. So, first of all, let us know the difference between the transitive and intransitive verbs, children. What are transitive and intransitive? Transitive verbs have an object and this action is transferred from the subject to something else. Okay, the transitive verbs can be active, like in active voice or passive voice. Okay, but the intransitive verbs have no object. Their action is not transferred from the subject to something else. For example, look here. Let us talk about the transitive verb first. Okay. So first, what are transitive verbs first? Transitive verbs are action verbs. They are the action verbs that have an object to receive that action. Transitive verb means which is having an object to receive an action. And in the if you see, like, the direct object receive the action of the verb. For example, if we see here, like, I moved the chair. Moved is an action, but moved action, this action was received by what? Chair. So this is called transitive verb. And all of the verbs are transitive. Some verbs are transitive because an object is receiving the action of the verb. Like, for example, what about the sentence like the bird sang? The bird sang. The bird is singing. Singing is a verb. Is there any object receiving here? No. Is the verb in the sentence having a transitive verb? No. So in this case, the verb sang comes under intransitive verb. And what is meant by intransitive verb? Intransitive verbs are action verbs, but unlike transitive verbs, they do not have an object receiving the action. And for example, I cried, I walked. Walked and cried is an action word. Walked where? Cried for what? There is no answer, no? Then it becomes intransitive verb. And when the action of the verb and like the performance, the subject is when the subject is performing the action of the verb and nothing is receiving, no object is receiving, it comes under what? Transitive, intransitive verb. Okay. Now if you see here the actions, now here are the examples for direct and indirect objects. Verbs that take an object are called transitive verbs. Verbs that do not take objects are called intransitive verbs. So verbs are action verbs. The action verb which is related to the object only becomes the transitive verb. But the verbs which do not take the object is called transitive verbs, intransitive. Now listen here. Janet ate the jalebis. Ate is an action word, right? But this action word is taken by what? Jalebis. What he ate? Jalebis. So we have the answer here for that question. So it becomes transitive because the direct object is beside. Now listen here. Janet ate hungrily. What he ate? He is hungry. Okay. He ate. We know it is also an action word. But what he ate? Do we have the answer? No. So the direct object is not there. No object is mentioned. So it becomes intransitive verb. Understood, children? And now, look here, there are some verbs that are always used as intransitive verbs. And here are some such verbs: come, explode, lop, sit, rise, excel, respond, run, smile, act, try, etc. Continue. All these verbs are always used as intransitive verbs only. Now, let us see. In this exercise, we have done, and this exercise also we have done. With this we have completed the first session. We have stopped the first session, and today we are going to do the second half of the session. The second half of the chapter starts with verbs of incomplete prediction. Verbs of incomplete prediction. So today we are going to discuss about this. Okay. Now children, when we talk about verbs of incomplete prediction, all verbs cannot convey the complete meaning by themselves. It means all verbs cannot convey the complete meaning by themselves. Maya was. So we feel it is as incomplete. We need to add other words or phrases to the sentence to complete the meaning. These verbs are known as verbs of incomplete prediction. Is, am, or was, were, has, have, seem, appear, become, look, and so on are verbs of incomplete prediction. It means all these words, if we are using the given words which are given here, we have to take some other help from other words to complete the sentence, because these words will never finish the sentence, will never make a sense to that sentence. Now Maya was what? No, but it's incomplete. We don't know the answer. Maya was in the room. So we took the help of in the room. The words that are added to verbs of incomplete prediction to complete the meaning are known as complements. Now Maya was is an incomplete sentence. Is it, children? So what we took help? We took help of in the room. These three words to fill this sentence. For example, I can use this: Maya was playing in the ground. Maya was sleeping. So whatever words I am using to complete this sentence, those words here, for example, Maya was in the room. We used in the room for help, to help the word, to help to complete the sentence. We took the help of these words to complete the sentence. So these in the room words are called complements. Dina is a dash. Dina is what? If we write Dina is a, it is incomplete. So when we want to complete this sentence, it is like Dina is a. Dina is a means without this teacher word, it will be an incomplete word, right? So when we are taking the help of this teacher, the sentence is completed. So when we are using a word to complete a sentence, that particular word is called complement. Okay, children, what is that word called? Complement. Is it so? Now, a verb of incomplete prediction is the verb which requires the help of some other word to complete its meaning. The word which is required to complete the meaning of the verb is known as complement of the verb. And if the complement refers to subject, it is subject complement. And if the complement refers to object, it is object complement. And sometimes the complement of the verb may be a noun, pronoun, adjective, gerund, infinitive, or a present participle. Okay, children, I think you have understood what is meant by verb of incomplete prediction. Okay. Now let us do the exercise of D Roman. Yes, now children, the D Roman, the exercise part is in the textbook. Now you have to do the exercise along with me. As usual, there are nearly 8 questions in this exercise and we are going to do only 4 remaining you have to do. Okay. Circle the verbs and underline the complements in this sentence. So you know the verb. We have to underline the verb, whether it may be verb in the sense you must not circle only the action verb. You know the difference between the main verb and auxiliary verb, right? If it is a main verb like an action, it is painted, singing, all are main verbs. Is, are, were and all auxiliary verbs. So we must circle the verbs, whether it is a main verb or an auxiliary verb. We have to circle the verb and we have to underline the complement. Complement means for the group of words which helps this sentence to be completed, right? Anya is a verb. Anya is what? A timid girl. So these 3 words help this word to complete the sentence. So this became a complement. So we have circled the first is and underlined the complement, a timid girl. Now coming to the second one. Jack became a scientist. What is a verb here? Became. Became is an action word. Now you circle the became. Circle became. Jack became what? What helped this sentence to be completed? A scientist. Jack became a scientist, right? So circle the became and underline a scientist. Underline a scientist. Okay. Now third one. Apurva painted her sister's face. Apurva painted. Here the verb is painted. Circle the word painted and the complement is what? Her sister's face. All 3 words are the complements. Fourth one, the girls were singing songs. Singing is a main verb. When there is a main verb, give importance to that main verb. Circle the singing. After verb, what is coming only, you have to take it as a complement. So first the verb is singing, circle the singing. After singing, what has come? The songs. Girls are singing. The girls were singing. What the girls were singing? Songs. So now the sentence is complete, right? Underline the songs. So circle the singing and underline the songs. Children, 4 we have discussed and the remaining 4 you have to do it as today's homework. Now we are going to talk about strong and weak verbs. What are strong and weak verbs? A weak verb is a verb which forms its simple past and past participle forms by adding ed, d or t to the base verb form, either with or without a change in the vowel sound. Weak verbs are also known as regular verbs. So now we are going to discuss about strong verbs and weak verbs. When we are discussing about strong and weak verb, first let us talk about weak verb. What is meant by? So a weak verb is a verb which forms its simple past and past participle forms by adding ed, d or t. So children, for example, love is a verb. We are adding ed, sometimes d, sometimes t to the base form. This is the base form of the verb and see here how they are using. In simple past tense we are using ed, d or t sometimes. In past participle also we are trying to add ed, d or t. So sometimes while adding ed and t, the pronunciation will change. See the last one, keep is the base form of the verb. When it is in the base form, we just spell it as keep. We just pronounce it as keep. But in the simple past tense, we change the pronunciation like kept. While adding t to that, it changes. The sound changes. Kept. Tell, told, told. Loud, loud, loud. So a weak verb is a verb which forms its simple past tense and past participle by adding ed, d and t. Ed, d and t to the base form of the verb. By sometimes it may change the pronunciation also. Weak verbs are also called as regular verbs. What do we call the weak verb as? Weak verbs are called as regular verbs. Understood, guys? Now let us come to the strong verbs. The strong verbs is called as regular verbs. Weak verbs are called as regular verbs. Strong verbs are called as irregular verbs. It is called as irregular verbs. A strong verb is a verb which forms its simple past and past participle by changing the main vowel of the base form without the addition of any ending. So here in the weak verbs, when we are adding this and sometimes we are changing the pronunciation also, when it is taking the help of some letters added, it comes under weak verb because it is weak. That is why it is taking help of some other letters. But here in the strong verb, it will not take any help from other letters, but it directly changes the vowel. There the pronunciation of the vowel only changes, but the spelling will not change. But here the direct vowel will be changed. Give is the base form. I has changed into a, gave, given. Blow, blew, blown. Speak, spoke, spoken. Now did you understand the difference, children? A weak verb is called as regular verbs and it takes the help of ed, d and t in the simple past and past participle for the base form of the word. And here in the strong verb, it will not take help of any added words, but the vowels will be changed in case of simple past and past participle. Okay. It is also called as, the strong verbs are called as irregular verbs. Now let us do the exercise part. Now E Roman, complete these sentences with the correct forms of the words in the brackets. So we have to complete these sentences and here some verbs were given. We have to add ed or d or t. Sometimes if needed we can change the vowel. So it means we have to use a stronger verb or a weak verb. So like this, in this form we can use a weak verb or in this form we have to use a strong verb to fill these sentences. He has selected his partner for the project. Select. So we have added ed. It is a weak verb, right? Has the problem been solved? So it is in the past participle. But what we have to use, strong verb or weak verb? Has the problem been solved? SLOVED, solved. Has the problem been solved? SLOVED. My watch was dash on the train. Steal. Can we use STEALED, stealed? No. The third form of the verb, give, gave, given, blow, blew, blown, speak, spoke, spoken. What is the third form for steal? Steal, stole, stolen. So here we know there is no need to take the help of ed, d or t. We can use the direct strong verb v3 form. If we know the v1, v2, v3 form, we can easily fill this. Okay. My watch was stolen on the train. STOLEN, stolen. Okay. Fourth one is, the song was dash by Meghna and her brother. Sing. What are the three forms of verb? Sing, sang, sung. What is the third form of the verb? Sung. The song was sung by Meghna and her brother. SUNG, sung. It means either it is a strong verb or a weak verb. The answer should be in V3 form, verb 3 form. Song, sang, and sung. The song was sung by Meghna and her brother. So there are 7 questions, I think so, children. 4 we have finished. So remaining 3 is for your today's homework. Okay. And the last thing we have to discuss for today is formation of verbs. We can form verbs from nouns. How can we form verbs? From nouns. Beauty is a noun. Beautify is a verb. Friend is a noun. Befriend. Being friend. Making friendship is a verb. Friend means friend. Courage. Courage means it is the name of one's braveness. Encouragement, it is an action when we are giving to others. Encourage. So it becomes, it is a noun and this is a verb. Unity, unite. So this is a noun and this is a verb. We can form verbs from adjectives. In the first thing, we saw the examples that the verbs will be formed from the nouns also. In the second thing, we are seeing that some verbs can be formed from adjectives. Broad. Broad means the width. Broaden is adjective. Rich, enrich. Fertile, fertilize. Simple, simplify. Broad, fertile, rich, simple, all are adjectives. And these adjectives, the verbs can be formed from the adjectives also. These are the examples for this. And this table shows a list of prefixes and suffixes that we can add to form verbs. It means these are the examples. They have given a list here to show the prefix and suffix. How we can add to form a verbs. These are the prefix and suffix examples they have given. Prefix means a group of words which can be used just in front of the action word, I mean base verb. And suffix means a group of words which will be added after the base verb. En, it is a suffix. Darken, deep n, white n. So en is used as a suffix. Ate, appreciate. Here ate is there. Celebrate, congratulate. So ate is used as a suffix. Ify, identify, purify, satisfy. Ify is also used as a suffix. Ise, realize, recognize, modernize. So ise has been used as suffix. En, look the hyphen children. For suffix, hyphen will be in front of the words. For prefix, hyphen will be just after the word, because then only we should just guess that the word will be continuing from here for prefix, and the word will be added just in front of this hyphen. En acts as a prefix. Enable, enslave, enlarge. Understood? Now this is the last exercise in this chapter we have to do, and with this exercise we are going to complete this chapter. Okay children? Complete these sentences with the verb forms of the words in the brackets. Here also they have given some answers in the brackets, and we have to use either a suffix or a prefix to complete these sentences. The soil should be fertilized before the seeds are planted. Fertile, we are just removing, we are replacing this E with I and adding SED. So this is the suffix. And the second one, the government. The government needs to, the government needs to, what happened? Dash the narrow roads of the city. It means wide. The government needs to what? Widen. So en will be added as a suffix. The government needs to widen the narrow roads of the city. WIDEN. Okay. We need to dash the fish only once a day. We cannot use food the fish. What is the third form of the food? Food, feed. Okay, the past tense of the food is feed. We need to feed the food. Feed the fish once a day. Only once a day. FEED. The suspect can dash that he was not in the city at the time of the burglary. The suspect can prove, Prove. The suspect can prove that he was not in the city at the time of the burglary. So there are nearly 8 questions in this Roman, children. I want you to complete the other 4 as a today's activity. And with this, we have completed the whole chapter 5 verbs from ACE grammar book. Hope you all have understood the concept, children. If you have any doubts regarding this, come tomorrow's class and we will discuss in the class directly, and you can get clarified from me directly in the class. Okay, children? So thank you for staying with me. This is Priya signing off from Alpha Group of Institutions. Bye, dear.